Welcome to One Chapter, One Thought. I'm Pastor Chris from Lincroft Bible Church in New Jersey, and every weekday I read one chapter of the Bible and offer one brief devotional thought. Today's reading is from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 48. Here is a list of the tribes of Israel and the territory each is to receive. The territory of Dan is in the extreme north. Its boundary line follows the Hethlon road to Lobel-Hamath and runs to the Hazar-Enan on the border of Damascus, with Hamath in the north. Dan's territory extends all the way across the land of Israel from east to west. Asher's territory lies south of Dan's and also extends from east to west. Naphtali's land lies south of Asher's, also extending from east to west. Then comes Manasseh, south of Naphtali, and its territory also extends east to west. South of Manasseh is Ephraim, and then Reuben, and then Judah, all whose boundaries extend from east to west. South of Judah is the land set aside for a special purpose. It will be 8 1/3 miles wide and will extend as far east and west as the tribal territories, with the temple at the center. The area set aside for the Lord's temple will be 8 1/3 miles long and 6 2/3 miles wide. For the priests, there will be a strip of land measuring 8 1/3 miles long and 3 1/3 miles wide, with the Lord's temple at the center. This area is set aside for the ordained priests, the descendants of Zadok, who served me faithfully and did not go astray with the people of Israel and the rest of the Levites. It will be their special portion when the land is distributed, the most sacred land of all. Next to the priest's territory will lie the land where the other Levites will live. The land allotted to the Levites will be the same size and shape as belonging to the priests, 8 1/3 miles long and 3 1/3 miles wide. Together, these portions of land will measure 8 1/3 miles long and 6 2/3 miles wide. None of this special land may ever be sold or traded or used by others, for it belongs to the Lord. It is set apart as holy. An additional strip of land, 8 1/3 miles long and 1 2/3 mile wide, south of the sacred temple area, will be allotted for public use: homes, pasture lands, and common lands, with a city at the center. The city will measure 1.5 miles on each side, north, south, east, and west. Open lands will surround the city for 150 yards in every direction. Outside the city, there will be a farming area that stretches 3 1/3 miles to the east and 3 1/3 miles to the west along the border of the sacred area. This farmland will produce food for the people working in the city. Those who come from the various tribes to work in the city may farm it. This entire area, including sacred lands and the city, is a square that measures 8 1/3 miles on each side. The areas that remain to the east and to the west of the sacred lands and the city will belong to the prince. Each of these areas will be 8 1/3 miles wide, extending in opposite directions to the eastern and western borders of Israel, with the sacred lands and the sanctuary of the temple in the center. So the prince's lands will include everything between the territories allotted to Benjamin and Judah, except for the areas set aside for the sacred lands in the city. These are the territories allotted to the rest of the tribes. Benjamin's territory lies just south to the prince's lands, and it extends across to the entire land of Israel from east to west. South of Benjamin's territory lies that of Simeon, also extending across the land from east to west. Next is the territory of Issachar, with the same eastern and western boundaries. Then comes the territory of Zebulun, which also extends across the land from east to west. The territory of Gad is just south of Zebulun, with the same borders to east to west. The southern border of Gad turns from Tamar to the waters of Meribah at Kadesh, and then follows the brook of Egypt to the Mediterranean. These are the allotments that will be set aside for each tribe's exclusive possession. I, the sovereign Lord, have spoken. These will be the exits to the city. On the north wall, which is 1.5 miles long, there will be 3 gates, each one named after a tribe of Israel. The first will be named for Reuben, the second for Judah, the third for Levi. The east wall will be 1.5 miles long. The gates will be named for Joseph, Benjamin, and Dan. The south wall, also 1.5 miles long, will have the gates named for Simon, Issachar, and Zebulun. And also, on the west wall, also 1.5 miles long, will be the gates for Gad, Asher, and Naphtali. The distance around the entire city will be 6 miles. And from that day, the name of this city will be, "The Lord is there." One thought. The final chapter of Ezekiel's vision focuses on the reallotment of the land to the tribes of Israel, and then the establishment of a new city. Again, many people get caught up on whether this vision is intended to be literal or symbolic, but we need to remember the original audience of the vision. It is those who have experienced a great national tragedy of their city walls being burned to the ground, their key city, Jerusalem, being decimated, and most of them being carried off as slaves into exile. For this audience, what would salvation look like to them? It would look like the complete renovation of their way of life, a new temple, new sacrifices, new city, and new land. And so much of this vision of the future is cloaked in language that the people of Ezekiel's day would have understood. But let's not miss the overarching point of the whole vision. It's found in the last verse. The name of the city will be, "The Lord is there." It's the Lord is there city, not New York City, not Chicago. The Lord is there city is the name. God desires to dwell with his people. That's the whole point of the Bible, essentially. Everything that God is doing from Genesis to Revelation is to renew and restore the relationship he has with the people that he has made. From Adam and Eve, when they were expelled from the garden, that was symbolic of his presence. They were removed from his presence, and then from that point on, God has been working his plan to open up the way back to himself. And he has done that most dramatically through the person and work of Jesus. In Jesus, the glory of God has come down and now dwells with us. As John 1:14 says, the Word became human and made his home among us. He is full of unfailing love and faithfulness, and we have seen his glory, glory of the Father's one and only Son. Jesus is our Emmanuel, our God with us. We now are the new restored temple and the new city where the Lord is. We can have a real relationship with the Lord right now, and we look forward to the day when we will see Christ face to face.